I'm Ken Leon Guerrero, Republican candidate for Senator and community advocate. And today's educational presentation is about the 2021 budget. And I would like to start off by saying that, in the immortal words of that famous American philosopher Mark Twain, no man's life, liberty, or property is safe while the legislature is in session. And with today's budget on the floor being debated, special emphasis goes to property. Money is a property, and your money, our money, taxpayer money, is not safe in this legislature. And I only say that because, in spite of everything that's happened this year, the administration and the members of the 35th have put together a budget that clocks in at a record-breaking $983 million budget. What are they smoking? Where are they getting that good stuff? How come they aren't sharing? Because with all the stress that people have been through on Guam right now, it'd be nice if we could get some of it. And maybe this is why they have created a budget that big. I mean, after all, this is a reality check for senators. Hello! The economy's been shut down for 5 months. Our tourism is dead. Ipao Beach in Tumon are a ghost town. Our local economy is dying as more and more small businesses close down. We have 34,000 people unemployed. The pandemic unemployment assistance bonus of $600 a week has expired. The $345 is set to expire at the end of this year, and nothing coming out of this legislature gives me any hope that the economy is going to be kick-started. I mean, after all, it was just November 2019 at a special economic session meeting where I listened to all these reports about how the government of Guam's finances were struggling. So how did we go from struggling in 2019 when we had the biggest budget ever to having an even bigger budget put on the table this year? Inquiring minds want to know. I mean, when you look at this top line from the budget of 2020, this is the approved one, 2020 Public Law 3536, $803 million. And somehow, out of this pandemic, economic slowdown, shutdown, the destruction of maybe 40 to 50 to 60% of the small businesses on Guam, they're expecting to generate $774 million, almost $775 million out of this economy. Like I said, they are smoking something really good and they're not sharing. So let's walk through this fantasy of a budget. And bear in mind, this budget looks more like a cut and paste job than it does someone actually put work in it. I mean, look at this. Provision for tax refunds, $125 million, and yet they're projecting another $125 million for 2021. Operations, 678, operations, 649. But it's when you go down every line item, 85 million corporate tax. Really? How is this number even possible when our economy has been shut down for 5 months? And I would say about half that economic stimulus money went off island because all of our local businesses were shut down. And here we have corporate taxes at 85 million and actually even higher. They're projecting a higher number from 85 million 58 in 2020 to 85,402. So this number has no basis in reality, especially when you get down here. Business privilege tax, 314 million in 2020, and here they're projecting 304. Really? $304 million, I don't even understand where they get this number because, yes, there was economic stimulus. Yes, most of that economic stimulus money went to paying bills. And to the best of my knowledge, the utility agencies don't pay taxes to government of Guam. So that was moot. And Amazon, eBay, and all the other online companies that continued to sell even though our local businesses were shut down. And when we look at how many businesses were shut down for how long and how many of them are going out of business, this number has no basis in reality. And things are about to get worse. Trump is enacting a payroll tax cut through executive action, but it doesn't mean that the people are going to see extra money in their paychecks because it's a deferment. And a lot of businesses are going to hold on to this money because a deferment means that they're going to have to pay it eventually. And the last time Trump got involved in taxes, it cost government of Guam $68 million. So I have no faith that the government of Guam is going to benefit from this. Remember, last time Trump touched taxes, it cost the government of Guam $68 million and forced the creation of the 5% temporary business privilege tax, which we now know is forever. And then on top of that, the CARES Act money that still remains in government of Guam, instead of being used for contracts for politically well-connected insiders like the administration is hoping, they are going to have to use what's left of it to fund the $400 stimulus, unemployment plan bonus stimulus. And since they don't have much money left, I think they claim that there's about $70 million unspent in CARES money. Well, that will bring $210 million in additional federal funds to Guam. Well, this latest order out of Washington has the governor panicking, and she wants to sue President Trump. And to her, I say, good luck with that. So with this level of cut and paste in the budget bill, it actually disrespects us as taxpayers because I don't see a lot of hard work going into this document, which proves there is an even bigger disconnect between the 35th legislature and reality than I thought. And I thought it was a pretty big one to begin with. So when we have the economy shut down for 5 months, how do they expect to continue to run government of Guam basically at the same level of financing? And another issue I have is how they are doing. It's going to take at least 10 senators to pass this bill. And I think that we know who the 10 senators are that are going to support this bill no matter what. But where does this money come from? Where is this $800 million going to come from? It's going to come from you and me in small business. It's not going to come from the big businesses that are politically well connected. And we have proof of that. I mean, there were no takers on the bid for the Guam Coronavirus Relief Fund reviewer. It's just a dog and pony show. In other words, remember when Governor Calvo put an RFP out for law firms to investigate the government over the bonuses and there were no takers? Well, there are going to be no takers on this either. So we're going to rely on Public Auditor Benjamin Cruz to analyze where those monies went. But in the meantime, the administration and this legislature have started a war on small businesses, and it's kicking into high gear. I mean, look at Chamorro Village, threatening to evict small businesses unless they pay the government of Guam their back rent. If they're doing this to small businesses, what protection do other small businesses have? What protections do tenants have? The fact that government of Guam is being so aggressive about trying to collect rents from small businesses tells me there is going to be no support when landlords start evicting tenants. And I don't blame the landlords, because a lot of the landlords borrowed money to buy these units to rent out. They haven't been paid in months. They're underwater on their mortgages. And I'm sure the big banks in New York City are threatening to repossess their properties as well. So this is not a pretty picture no matter how you look at it. But the fact the government of Guam is dumping gas on this fire tells me that the people of Guam have more to fear from our own government, unless we change it. Because there's no plan to help the small business owners. We haven't seen anything. In fact, it's been the opposite. It seems like at every opportunity, this administration has put the hammer to small businesses, but they won't do the same thing to large businesses. I mean, there's $16 to $20 million of uncollected cigarette taxes out there that the administration continues to refuse to pay. And this really upsets me, because a friend of mine was a small entrepreneur, and I remember last year when he was trying to renew his business license, a peddler's license, so that he could participate in a craft show. And he was denied his business license until he paid all of his GRT. Now, the fact that he didn't have anything to pay, they wouldn't give it to him till he did all the forms. But at the meantime, we have large businesses that owe the government of Guam millions of dollars in taxes that go uncollected. So how can we justify putting the screws to small businesses like that vendor in Chamorro Gardens while big businesses continue to get a free ride? Especially when you consider there are 34,000 people unemployed, benefits are running out, and we hear everybody from the legislature and the administration counting on small businesses to pick up the slack and put the people back to work. But they can't have it both ways. But in the meantime, the legislature is going into session today and for the rest of this week, and they're going to be debating a budget bill that has no basis in reality. They're also going to, save the landfill from biodegradable bags. And they're going to consider a number of dubious appointments, including one board member who has proven he is willing for the airport, and that is, a board member who has been using his position on the board to do business with the airport. And that's totally illegal. Of course, our Attorney General won't act on it. He's too busy signing on to class action suits. So remember, the legislature's in session. People beware.
Good morning, colleagues. The Committee of the Whole is called to order. We have invited panel guests. We have the Office of Finance and Budget, Steve Guerrero, Llewellyn Cherlai, and Mr. Joe Cabana, and also Vanessa Valencia behind me. We've also invited the Office of the Department of Administration and the BBMR, but we have been advised this morning that due to medical reasons, the contact tracing, BBMR has basically been shut down. So we will not get any attendees from BBMR.
It's kind of ironic that the legislature is not able to get BBMR Director Lester Carlson to come in because the office is shut down due to COVID. And just recently, Father Duenas was shut down due to COVID. Food distribution centers shut down due to COVID. And now I'm hearing that some other government of Guam agencies might also be shut down due to COVID. So the irony is that this risk of infection is so high that Lester Carlson and Edward Byrne won't come to the legislature unless there is sufficient distancing, yet they are forcing the people of Guam to partake in a needless primary election. But back to the budget hearing. We know the 35th is incapable of cutting off the fat because as I looked through this budget bill, I saw a couple of obvious targets. The first one, the Commission on Decolonization, and I'm actually thinking about filing a suit here because they are using taxpayer dollars from 100% of the taxpayers to fund a highly divisive agency, the Committee on Decolonization. $500,000. We can't fix the elevators at Guam Memorial Hospital, which will cost about $400,000, but we can spend $500,000 on an agency that has no popular support and is basically trying to declare the government of Guam is a hostage. I mean, the island of Guam is a hostage of the United States, and the people of Guam are prisoners with no rights, when nothing could be further from the truth. So we got $500,000 that's basically going to go to fund politically well-connected insider employment at the director level, vacations to New York, Washington, and now Brussels, Belgium, as part of the communications with the unrepresented nations and peoples organizations, as Senator Tina Munoz Barnes has. I don't even know how to say it. I'm very upset about this. Instead of spending money where we need it, we're doing that. What could we have done with the 500,000? Well, let's look at the Army Corps report here. Elevators are a big problem, and it would take $400,000 to repair all the elevators. So when we consider that not everybody on this island is affected by has pandemic health issues that put them in Guam Memorial Hospital, there's not a family on this island that isn't affected by the meth epidemic. So maybe we could take that 500,000 from the Committee on Decolonization, and instead of wasting it on that, we could buy 20 drug-sniffing dogs. We have 3 ports of entry that the drugs are flooding into our island from: the airport, shipping containers, and the post office. Just imagine if we had 20 more drug-sniffing dogs and put them to work, and also trained handlers, how much we could reduce the flow of meth on our island. But instead, the senators of the 35th want to continue funding a useless agency that discriminates against 60% of the people of Guam. Instead of spending $500,000 on that waste of political privilege and pork barrel politics that is the Committee on Decolonization, and right now we don't have sufficient drug-sniffing dogs to stem the flow. That would be a better use of $500,000. And here's another disconnect. Just above the medical cannabis program, this caught my eye. Child Protective Services, they're only going to fund $114,000. We have thousands of children at risk on this island due to broken families, the drug epidemic, the meth epidemic. But we're going to spend $450,000 on a program that doesn't exist because we don't have the technology, and we don't even need it because with the adult recreation marijuana, why do we need the medical program anymore? We would be better off funding Child Protective Services with the money set aside and the money from the cannabis program. No. And here's another issue I have with this budget. Every politician claims they love veterans until budget comes. The medical cannabis has no staff or operations and gets almost as much money as currently going to the Veterans Office. When we consider the needs our veterans have coming back after multiple tours of duty in war zones, we need to take that money and use that to help expand services and operations at the Veterans Office because our veterans need all the help they can get especially coming back from multiple combat tours to an island that is locked down due to COVID. The only way we change the future of Guam to be a better future is to replace the senators who have proven by the bills they introduce and the votes they cast that political parties and politically well-connected insiders are more important than the people whose votes put them in positions of power and authority in the first place. So let's remember these people, and not in a good way, on August 29th. These are the senators who put party politics ahead of public safety by forcing us to participate in this next to useless, a waste of time primary. But we have to do it anyway, because for these 10, party politics are more important than your lives, your parents' lives, or your children's lives. How do we change our future for a better one? We do it by changing the people driving the bus. Here are my recommendations for the 36th Guam legislature. Of course, at the top, and the reason why we're in this primary for the only reason we're in this primary election, vote for Mike San Nicolas if you're voting on the Democrat side of the primary. Vote for incumbents Therese Terlahi and Talina Cruz Nelson. And vote for new candidates, Frank Leon Guerrero, Fred Berdalio, Franklin Meno, John Ananich, Dave Duenas, and Chris Carrillo. And for Public Auditor Benjamin Cruz. And for those who have, and a lot of you have come up concerned, who want to vote for me but want to vote for Mike, vote on the Democrat side. Vote for Mike. Give him all the support, because right now he's got the entire Democrat Party coming after him with guns blazing, all because he pledged loyalty to the people of Guam over loyalty to the Democrat Party. And he has proven to me by his actions in Washington that he's putting the people of Guam first. So let's put him first in this instance. Now, for those of you voting on the Republican side, and I am one of the candidates, I recommend voting for incumbents James Moylan, Tela Taitagui, Mary Camacho Torres, and new candidates Dominic Hernandez, and of course me, number 4 on the Republican side, Ken Leon Guerrero, also known as Joaquin Vicente Leon Guerrero. Former Senator Frank Blas, and this was a surprise to me, but after 2.5 hours of talking with him, and I'll get in more into this later when I do the final list for the general, he surprised me, and he's going to surprise you as well. Vince Borja, another good Republican, Don Edquiline, Michelle Armenta, Sandra Reyes Sayal, Joseph Iglesias Cruz, and for Public Auditor, Ben Cruz. Do not vote for any of the recycled senators on the Republican side, specifically Tony Atta, Chris Duenas, and Joanne Brown, all whom had parts in creating, signing and passing the secret, massive, retroactive 2014 pay raise, or defending it against multiple attempts to roll it back in the 33rd legislature. I'm Ken Leon Guerrero, Republican candidate for senator in the 36th Guam legislature, and this has been a public education message in addition to a campaign appeal. So please vote for me on the Republican side. Vote safe, vote smart. Call the Guam Election Commission, and you can vote Monday through Saturday by appointment only at 477-9791. Again, vote smart, vote safe. Call the Guam Election Commission at 477-9791. Make an appointment. Curbside voting is also available between now and the 29th. at the Guam Election Commission building at GCIC up front for senior citizens and those with disabilities. Vote. It's very important, especially now.